Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I'll also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for access support, and any kind of updates I usually go about on the Twitter X platform. I cannot put myself on getting some free spare time doing some live streams. It's been a little bit tricky, but again, as soon as I can, I will go about and do some live streaming. I want to finish up Farm Azula, at least before we start with the DLC. Today is Thursday. Yeah, so later today we're going to get Star Wars Jedi Survivor episode, and tomorrow we'll get the Dead Space remake episode. And with that, I think that's it. Just a quick reminder: I have some videos with Elden Ring theories, just a couple of them, not much, but it's more things that I think I could add to the discussion. I'm not trying to I avoid trying to repeat what it is basically considered to a certain point a consensus. So some stuff that I start to think about, usually it's when I'm playing, some things pop up on the game and I wonder what the theory or what the reasoning is behind that. But yeah, other than that, I think that's what I got from the channel updates. So let's go to the news. Similarly, AMD is this one is from SFX. They are teasing kind of a swappable fence. There was already the Phoenix Nirvana series, which is from the 7900 XTX version of this GPU. And yeah, it's got this new, I think I got the Merc 10, I think it's silver, the coloring frame is black and silver, and this one is black and red with swappable fans supposedly. Got a hot swappable thingy to just pull the fan and insert the replacement one. And I think the brand here is trying to introduce, I will assume, new models. Because for you to have swappable fans, you have to have a mount that can support that. I think they will eventually, throughout this year, will introduce more models from the rest of the RDNA free lineup with this kind of swappable fans. I think it's good to the sense that usually fans tend to last pretty long. So, but in case instead of sometimes happen. I think I had one throughout the 20 plus years that I've been having GPUs with fans. Yeah, it happened probably one time. A fan just stopped working. But yeah, it's better to have a swappable fan system and you just replace the fan instead of trying to go and get to a repair shop for you to replace the thing where is the fans are secured there. But yeah, it's good to see that. I think this should be a wide adoption here, and if it is, I don't think this kind of a thing is that expensive to introduce a swappable fan mechanism here. So yeah, hopefully we'll get something decent, and hopefully it goes for the global market, because I forgot to mention the Phoenix Nirvana series, I think only released in China for the moment, so we'll have to wait and see how they are going to go about here. But yeah, AMD is lowering. I will assume this is AMD sanctioned, especially ASRock is lowering their GPUs on basically the entire lineup, except for the 7600 series or models GPUs, and we got some stuff, and I will assume this is North America market here. Yeah, we got lower prices. Supposedly, I'm not sure if AMD already has official MSRPs regarding the XTX being $900. I will assume so. But you got also the 7900 XT around $690. Yeah, it's not a bad price point, but it could be cheaper. The 7900 GRE seems to be a pretty good one at this price point, around $530. It's in terms of performance. Yeah, it's a kind of a mixed specs in the sense that the way it's constructed here, but yeah, it has less VRAM, but it performs a little bit better than the 7800 XT, even though the 7800 XT, this is the OC variant. Yeah, for at the moment in time, for $480 with the game bundle stuff that I covered yesterday, I think it's a good price given that games are around $60. Uh, yeah, with Lies of Pi and another game that might be worth that. It's a huge discount there. Yeah, I think they are going a little bit aggressive during the summer, mainly because of the RDNA GPUs. They are the lineup of the RDNA 4 again. They will not have high-end GPUs or in that sense, so they're going to be middle of the road and kind of medium to high end. So I think that the better one will reach around the probably the 7900 XT performance wise, but with better ray tracing. So I think they want to try and see if they can run out of stock until the launch of RDNA 4, so they can introduce those GPUs to start replacing at least between the 7900 XT to the probably 7700 XTs. I will assume they will have at least the 89 or probably more 8800 XT, so it can be comparable in terms of leaps in performance with the 7800 XT. Probably get the 8800 XTs and the 8700s, and probably the 8600s is going to be a bigger leap on the 7600 GPUs there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But my bet is they are trying to little by little throughout this summer to reduce the prices and to get out of the stock there, so they can afterwards introduce the RDNA 4 lineup, and sell better, because if you have lower, like it happened with the 7000 this generation, they still have a lot of decent GPUs from previous generations, especially the 6800 XTs and some of the 6900s. There were still plenty of them in stock to affect a little bit the sales of the high end of the 7000 series. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see if this is the strategy they're going about. But yeah, basically in terms of hardware, this is what I got for today. Regarding software, supposedly that's why again Unreal Engine 5 has an issue, which basically at native 4K resolution there is no decent performance that you can squeeze out, especially with still with the current hardware, even with the 4090. It's basically to engine design, which is something that we probably already kind of known, and mainly because they have the crutch here as an engine design there. With they have an internal upscaling software solution, which is temporal super resolution, and it's implemented by default. It's basically a requirement even for high-end GPUs to handle like higher resolutions at playable frame rates. That's why we're seeing a lot of struggling of Unreal Engine 5 games, struggling a little bit on the console stuff there, because it's very demanding. And yeah, I think that to a certain extent, given that I think with the 5.4 it's going to be a little bit easy to optimize the game, but I think we're still going to see, and I don't think this will be solved with the 5000 series from NVIDIA, the 5090s. I don't think this will be fully resolved. But yeah, it's trying to use the crutch of upscaling technologies to get around and avoid more optimizations, which is something that we have been seeing in a lot of games. So they, I think one of those is Remnant 2. When they launched, it was not properly optimized, and basically you have to play it with the upscaler on, even at 1440p and I think 1080p. Yeah, I think it's now with this new version of Unreal Engine 5.4, if not mistaken, I think you can get a better way of optimizing the game for different hardwares, but still to get around high FPS at 4K native is going to be very tricky. And I think, again, for me, as a personal preference, the games that I usually play, 4K 60 is more than good enough. I've been playing the more demanding games. In my case, Jedi Survivor and Dead Space Remake are the more demanding in terms of the hardware that I have. I have 7900 XTX and CPU 7700X. Again, I can play it around 4K 70 frames in average in both games, give or take, and I got basically everything on maximum to a certain degree. Not everything, I just pluck certain things. I don't like, for example, too much motion blur. I remove chromatic aberrations, try to get those weird effects that sometimes I don't like seeing. But yeah, it gives me a little bit boost on the frame side of things. But yeah, even with Unreal Engine, which is Survivor, Jedi Survivor is based on Unreal Engine. It's not on the 5.4, of course. But yeah, you can notice from time to time the struggling, and I think it's mainly from the engine. Because I did my tests at the time before recording. You see some issues here and there on the not sure if it is the effect stuff, but you can notice that the I think it's the engine, which is to a certain extent associated with the GPU power processing. But yeah, hopefully these new games that will come out in Unreal Engine 5 will be better optimized. That's why I'm very interested on the what I think, yeah, Capcom engine, the RE engine, or To the Moon engine. I don't know how they internally call that. The one that is going to have Monster Hunter Wilds, with where we have Dragon Dogma 2. They also are, that engine seems pretty good. This is where all the remakes of the Resident Evil games were made. We got the Monster Hunter Wilds, very interesting to me because it seems to be like huge open areas. I will cover a little bit more on Monster Hunter Wilds, but yeah, that engine seems pretty good. And we got got other options. For example, we got the Alan Wake game, got a Northlight engine from those guys there. Yeah, it's always good to have pretty much different kind of engines that can do some realistic or graphic fidelity. But again, my main concern usually when playing a game is that the game is optimized for the hardware that it's being played on. But yeah, hopefully Unreal Engine will go around, and if they can engineer a little bit more performance and squeeze a little bit more performance out of it, it will be better. In terms of games, again, Mr. Miyazaki got an interview. Again, we got the ramp up for the Shadow of the Earth 3. Got a few days still, around 8 days or so. So the 21st is when it launches. Yeah, PC Gamer interviewed Mr. Miyazaki. Again, it's been a discussion that supposedly some players say that you shouldn't play with a guide. Besides, others said that you can only play with the guide because it's tricky and all that jazz. And basically, again, we got, I think he already made some statements on that regard, which is basically the blind playthroughs, and sometimes it comes with that some the difficulty level of From Software games. Again, Elden Ring can be relatively easy to deal with. In my streams, sometimes I just pop out my Ash, my Warrior's Ash, in this case the Mimic tier, and I can pretty much handle everything that I've been thrown at so far. So I don't think it's a matter of difficulty, is how you can use the tools that the game provides for you to go about the game. Yeah, I still die from time to time in some bosses or some more difficult enemies, and I'm not an expert player on From Software games, but even my experience with From Software games, even they have tools inside the game that if you can use the tools, use a little bit your imagination, the game can be relatively easy, let's say. But yeah, regarding that, of course, Mr. Miyazaki said, of course, players are going to consult guides, and there's going to be a wealth of information on the web and in their communities where they have access to the secrets and the strategies. We expect that. Doesn't mean that Miyazaki designs the games around this. But the main philosophy is they try to cater to the player who is completely blind and wants to go through organically. If they can't do it, then there is some room for improvement on our behalf, and we try to embrace those players more in the future. Again, because the games that Miss Miyazaki does, I think a lot of the the difficulty of people going blind through is they expect to see everything on one playthrough, and I think it's not the wrong, but it's not the best way to go about a From Software game. I think you can take more out of the games if you play it several times, because there is a lot of replayability there, mainly because you got different classes that you can go through, different strategies that you can use, different armaments, different armors that you can try out, different spells, all that jazz. And even in the quest that you go about, not only Elden Ring, but even from the other From Software games, especially Dark Souls style games, there is different ways that you go about, for example, NPC quests, and of course for that you can use the guides there. I use that for Dark Souls 3 a lot, and I'm using to a certain point on Elden Ring also, even though I screwed up some stuff on the beginning. But yeah, the second playthrough you can go about doing things differently, and because on the first playthrough you already know things to a certain degree where they are, you can try to guess around going different ways on the path there, which is pretty interesting. And even, for example, on Elden Ring, you got to remember stuff, so you can go from one play through, go about doing things in a specific way for the boss fights, and then you can go in the second one, get the remembers from other stuff there, so on your playthrough, third playthrough, you can get like a better idea. But I think mainly the guides and most about the wikis is about the lore stuff. I think people want to use that so they can pick some items that might have lore associated with it, so people can get better information out of the lore and what the story is trying to tell you in game. I think it's more about that than anything else, because I think a lot of people like to go through blind at the first time so they can experience all the things in a blind way, let's say for the first time, without any kind of guidance or information. And then on the second playthrough they want to be more completionist in a sense, and they use the guides there to be more completionist in the second playthrough. I think it's a little bit more than people just want to, when they play the first time, to know everything at the same time. I don't think it's at least that's my sense. But yeah, again, everybody has the so-called blessing from Miyazaki using guides when you play, even at first time. But yeah, anybody can play the game the best way they feel that it's for them, and I don't condemn any either way. You play the way you feel more comfortable, and that's fine. But yeah, at least we kind of know the philosophy behind. Again, we got to say, I think Miyazaki already told this thing at least once or twice that I can remember. But yeah, they try to engineer, it's try to make the game for people to go blind and the first time experience basically mostly what the game has to offer in a blind way. But yeah, those little secrets that sometimes you figure out after 2 years playing the game. I still see some videos, people playing the game for 2 years straight and still finding new stuff and interesting stuff. It's always good to that, you know, in the back of your mind there is something interesting that you probably didn't figure out yet on the game, and you even after 2 years you will discover that. In other news, again, I covered this. I think this is from I think this was announced where on Xbox Showcase. I think this Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Again, we got a little bit more info here. Again, this is a turn-based RPG, supposedly with a twist. Yeah, basically the main gist is lead members of Expedition 33 on their quest to destroy the Paintress, which basically is somebody that is painting numbers and gives death when erases a number or something like that. So she can never paint death again. Explore a world of wonders inspired by Belle Epoque. friends, and battle unique enemies in this unique turn-based RPG with real-time mechanics. Interesting. Yeah, then we got reactive turn-based combat. Tomorrow comes. Again, this is the reveal trailer, so it's something that already been showcased. But yeah, hopefully this is a good game. I already wishlisted so I can keep tracks on this one. This is something that is going to be launched next year. Again, there is no first quarter, second quarter, or something like that. It's just next year. Hopefully this will be a good game. I always like a good turn-based RPG, so let's see. Again, there is this link on Steam for you to wishlist and keep tabs on this game. Then we got kind of a deep dive on Monster Hunter Wilds from the Summer's Game Fest. Again, yeah, this is a lengthy article. I'm not an expert by any means. I never played any Monster Hunter games, but it's one of those franchises that I always hear about, and it's always left me some curiosity to try out. And I think I'm going to go for Monster Hunter Wilds as my starting point. That's why I'm trying to get as much information with the mechanics and the such, even though I kind of know what the gist of the game or the game loop there, hunting monsters, getting the things from the monsters to manufacture better equipment, get all the buff mechanics also on the hunts there. There is a lot of exploration, side quests and all that jazz. But yeah, similarly there was some hands-off demos being showed off. In this case 30 minutes gameplay demonstration. Yeah, similarly everybody is very excited for this one. Dialogue, I got some highlights here, some things that interested me. The dialogue is dynamic to inform the player of world events in real time, and then won't be static in one place either, as villagers still wander around with their own tasks to do. Again, very interesting, similar to Dragon's Dogma 2. That engine has that routine AI routine stuff there that is being used here also. Then you got the map stuff. The enhanced map is modeled in 3D to showcase different levels of elevation and can also be freely rotated. I don't know if this is something that people were not able to do before, but seems pretty interesting. On the map, players can see the local upsurges where rare materials or subspecies might be more prevalent. So it's a dynamic map, which is pretty good, especially given that there is a lot of dynamic weather systems there also on this game. So it's always good to have that information before you go on a hunt. Then we got, once a target is selected and tracking begins, scout flies once again, illuminate a path to the target monster by the way of glowing trails. If along the way towards a quest, players will get notified of other opportunities for hunts. It's always good to see that you just not straightforward go hunt and there is kind of no distractions, let's say, but it seems that the environment here is pretty dynamic. You can get distracted with other stuff while you're trying to do the thing that you wanted to do. It's always good to have like diversity of stuff, so you to a certain degree it increases a little bit the difficulty, because then you have to think about, okay, will I not be distracted and go for the hunt or the monster there, or can I get distracted with other stuff and then probably get caught up with the monster by surprise, something like that. I think we're going to see some scenarios like that happen. Then it appears that players can build mobile camps around the world to prepare while out on patrol, from changing weapons and gear to grilling up a meal. For the usual passive status increases, this camp costs guild points to build and aren't permanent. So very interesting. I think to a certain extent, Final Fantasy 15 had that camp system, but I think it was fixed locations, and it's like fixed locations. Here supposedly you can, from what I understand, you can build mobile camps anywhere. So we'll assume for even Dragon Dogma, the placements of camps, I think it's fixed places, so you cannot place anywhere. I will assume you can place a camp here anywhere to a certain extent. Of course, you're not going to set a camp in front of the monster, but I will assume there will be areas where you can set up a camp. And of course, there is a situation here in the article that said after they leave the camp, and I'm not sure if I highlighted that. No, but basically the camp can be destroyed, in the sense that even though it's not permanent. So basically, the monster the camp itself can attract monsters to basically destroy there. So I think it's something very quick. So you are on the area for the hunt, and you just want to make a quick camp so you can put up your buffs and all that stuff and prepare yourself for the battle. I think it's more on those lines, but it's going to have a cost on that. So yeah, I think it seems to be a pretty good balance system there. You also have wound system. It supposedly is a new mechanics, and it's something that they wanted to highlight there. Basically, it's like a surprise hit. If you cut the monster by surprise, you can like do a wound, which is basically a slash on the armor there, and it's something that you can use to try to exploit extra damage when you do the hunt there. So it's pretty interesting. This kind of thing you can use. I think several tools, like you can use like a focus system. I think there is, for you to be targeting on purpose that one for extra damage besides that the weapon does there. So basically it's trying to arrange some vulnerabilities on the monsters to make it a little bit easier there. Supposedly turf wars, I think it's something that it's monster on monster stuff there, depending on the biomes and the such. Is back, and just about every other monster has one reason or another to stroll up and pick a fight with both player and its intended foe. So it's something that it might complicate things on the hunt there. So it's an extra layer of the difficulty and strategy that you have to go about similarly. But of course, I think you can use this to your advantage to a certain degree. But yeah, something interesting here. Players could reap the rewards of this new kind of turf and collect a variety of endemic life that would only appear in weather conditions such as this. So this might be something that you really want to take, even though it makes a little bit more difficult. The rewards themselves seems to be higher than usual, so it's always good to see that. Then at the point of a demo, somebody fired the SOS flare to bring free NPC support hunters to help even the odds. So similarly, if you have like a difficulty getting around the hunt, suppose you can just call for support, which is like kind of an easy mode, let's say. But yeah, it's a mechanic that can be used. I don't know if it's something that already existed on other games, but yeah, seems that you have a lot of choices to go about doing the things here. And again, even during combat, the hunter was able to fast travel out and change his primary weapon to a long sword. Sometime during this phase, the sensor dissipated and the environment it entered in the phase of abundance, called the planet that changed up the endemic life once more. Again, my thing is the fast travel. I don't understand this. I know Monster Hunter World had like a grapple system. I don't know if it's something like that. I don't know how this system of supposedly fast travel, I don't think it's a good description of the mechanic there, because I think you cannot change weapons while you're doing the combat there. You have to remove yourself, or you have to prepare. I think the loadout only allows you one primary weapon and one support weapon, I think. Again, this seems to be having like a system where you can remove yourself in direct conflict with a monster. I don't know if it is with a mount or something like that, and you can get and try to explore different weapons and change them on the fly while in combat. Again, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but yeah, it seems pretty interesting. But basically introduce one or two new mechanics, like including multiple weapons switching, being able to continue questing in an area even after completing hunt. So supposedly after you completed the hunt, suppose you were you automatically travel to a safe harbor or something like that. Now you can stay after the hunt is finished, and you can roam around and finding new stuff to do while you're at it. So it's always interesting to see this kind of things, new kind of tweaks and mechanics being introduced there. But yeah, it's one of those that I'm really interested in trying out, and I think by the looks of it, it's the sweet spot for me as a new player to enter and wait for this Under Wilds game for be introduced to Monster Hunter. Again, never played any of these games, so I'm trying to get my best information where I can. I also follow Rurikan, which is a Portuguese YouTuber, but he speaks English better than me. I think he's kind of a specialist there on Monster Hunter stuff. He did excellent breakdowns on the trailers from Monster Hunter Wilds. He goes very in depth because he's a long-time player of Monster Hunter, so it's always a recommendation for me. Also, if you want to check that guy out. But yeah, regarding news, basically this is it. Just some gaming deals. We still have around, at the time of recording, around 3 or 4 hours until you get Midnight Suns for free on Epic Game Store. On Steam, we still have Resident Evil franchise. It's still on sale from 25% or 25% to 75%, depending on the game there. I will leave the list of Resident Evil games so you can complete your collection. We got also 30% on jusant. We got Pacific Drive is still on sale, 30% off. We got Children of Morta, 75%. We got Ori games, 75% on the first one, the definitive edition, and on the second one, Will of the Wisp, 67% off. And we got also on Steam Forza Horizon 5, 50% on every edition, I think. Yeah, this is one of those that I will like to try out, because I always like to have a racing game to play with, and it's been a long time since I play a racing game. I think it's something pretty good that I could try out there. On JUN, we got Battle Mech. This is a mercenary collection. It's got a lot of stuff there. I'm not sure which kind. The base game. Yeah. Yeah. It's just no. Wallpapers, art book, season. Got the season pass here. I know they got something here. The Ultimate Digital Deluxe Edition and Season Pass gives the players Season Pass, Flashpoint, Urban Warfare, and upcoming Heavy Metal at a discounted price. Okay, so you got a lot of stuff here to go through if you like mech games. This is a turn-based game here, so I think it's well worth it. We got also a Spirit Farewell Edition, 75% off on GOG. Come on. Oh my god, sometimes on the Chrome thingy. Then we got Wolfenstein also, the 2-pack, which has the Old Blood and the New Order. And then we got Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, 85% off also. But yeah, basically this is what I got for you today, guys. I'm just going to wrap up with a plug on my Patreon as usual for extra support. This extra support is for me at this moment in time for me to get a better storage solution so I can get backups or the stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.